Hey there, welcome Authority Group. Hey there, welcome Authority Group. I'm just doing a little test here. Going to do a little summary of authority in preparation for Tuesday night. But I am encouraging you to join me Tuesday night online. And you're going to see there on the Facebook Live or on the House of Bread Network. I think I'm going to try doing the Facebook Live with the comments. And so if you give me the comments in there on Tuesday night, I'll explain that on Tuesday night thoroughly, yeah? Anyway, we've been talking about authority, and this is just a little summary of the things that we've talked about so far. We've said that authority is not power, and so you can actually have a power without having authority, but you can't have authority without having power. And so there's a difference between those two things. And so we need to make sure that we seek to have authority. Now, how do we know we have authority? Well, some people think that authority is because you have anointing, right? But we've said that authority and anointing is not the same. Anointing serves authority, but authority does not serve anointing. So it's possible to actually have anointing long before you have the authority. Like King David, he had the anointing of a king when he was a shepherd, but he kept being a shepherd with some sheep with a kingly anointing, and then he became a cheese deliverer with a kingly anointing, and he continued all the way up until the day that he became a king, and he had the anointing of a king already, but it was the appointment that gave him the authority. So authority is not anointing, but anointing does serve authority. And so then authority is your measure given, it's your measure of life given to you for the sake of others. So like a cup of water is a measure of water given so that you can give a drink to somebody. Well, that measure of life that's been given to you, that's your measure of authority. And so as we go on this journey to discover what our authority is, we're looking for where is our measure of life. And so you can tell that by your responsibility, because that measure of life is the amount of life that comes out of you. And that measure of life is simply because you've been given something as uniquely you. You are you, and you give life to the world the way that you do. And so it's not about anointing, although anointing serves authority. It's really more about responsibility, because authority makes you responsible. It doesn't equal your value. Remember, we all have the same value, and our value is one and only. But our anointing, it serves our authority, and our authority comes from our responsibility. So authority makes you responsible. It doesn't make you valuable. Your value comes from being a child of God. And all authority must be given and received. All authority comes from authority. Keep in mind, when we say that authority is given and received, it's not like God just comes and just yanks you and says, this is what I'm giving you. Sometimes he says, I'm giving you this, like he said to the children of Israel, I'm giving you the promised land. Well, they had the authority to take the promised land, but they would have had to go in and take the promised land. So it was given, but you have to go and receive it. And so there are many things that are given to us that we fail to receive simply because we're reluctant to move into the place of receiving what is given. But authority must be given and received, and all authority comes from authority. So it's life that is given and life that is received. Now, we talked about authority. What was the first thing that was the step? And that is a birthright. We said that birthrights actually come in birthrights. Our birthright is not just one big birthright. It's lots of little steps of birthright that helps us figure out our birthright. And when we know what our birthrights are, then we can get our training and get the sound of God in our name. We'll talk more about that in the sessions to come. But we have to have birthright first, and then that birthright allows us then to go through training and to get the sound of God in our name. Now, the basis of authority and the basis of dominion is who you are. Authority is who you are. It's your measure of life that's given to you to give life to others. And then dominion is a testimony of who you are, because dominion is the truth of you and it crumbles every lie. To subdue is the presence of God in your life. That's grace or authority, the measure of life that's been given to you to give life to your world. And then that causes you to become you. And when you walk in the stature of who you are, that stature of who you are crumbles every lie in your world. And so we talked about a couple of words about authority. There were several words that were in your book, or in my book that you read, but particularly this, the words that you were looking for was words that talked about katexousiazo was a word, a Gentile word, and that Gentile word was, I'm popping in and out of there. Sorry, guys. So katexousiazo is a controlling authority, but then there is another authority, which is the exousia. And exousia means it is what it is. And it is what it is allows you to walk in that authority of life. And so it's a visible manifestation that influences the public with a tangible force that works in a complete capacity, competency, and freedom of that tangible force. In other words, you are who you are. And so that is the testimony of authority. Now, on Tuesday night, we are going to continue on with the basis of authority. The foundation of authority is who you are. We're going to talk more about that. And so you should be reading chapter 4. And also, I'm going to post up chapter 5 here. It'll be up here by Sunday, which is tomorrow. I'm just doing this little test. And I promise you that what we do on Tuesday night will be even better than what I just did here now. I promise. I'm just practicing. So God bless you. Give me a comment on here if you have watched this and if you got any input. And also, please be thinking about questions you're going to ask. If you can give me some ahead of time, we can pull those up Tuesday night for our group discussion. God bless you.